I didn't even do anything, but my back still hurts. Sound familiar? If you're over 60 and sit a lot, the real damage isn't from movement, it's from stillness. Sitting too long without the right habits quietly wrecks your spine, tightens your joints, and drains your energy. But here's the fix: just 4 simple moves every hour can stop the pain before it starts. No workouts, no equipment, just smart sitting. And now, it's time for the intro. 3, 2, 1. It was a chilly Sunday afternoon when I visited Mr. Raymond, a 72-year-old retired postman in Cedar Springs. His wife had called me the day before, worried, not because he had fallen, but because he refused to get up. "He's just sitting all day in that old recliner," she said. "He barely moves. Says his back hurts too much." When I arrived, Raymond greeted me with a weak smile. "Doc, I don't know what happened. I used to walk 5 miles a day. Now even standing up to get the remote feels like climbing a mountain." That's not unusual. In fact, I see this more often than I'd like: older adults who slowly slip into a sedentary routine without realizing it, until one day, pain becomes a permanent guest in their lives. So today, let's talk about something simple, but vital: what you do each hour when you're sitting, especially if you're over 60. Sitting, in itself, isn't evil. But how you sit, how long you sit, and what you fail to do while sitting, that's where the danger lies. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 4 levels of sitting habits, from worst to best. We'll look at what each level means, how it affects your spine, muscles, and energy, and most importantly, what you can do instead. These aren't complex exercises or medical treatments. They're small, practical adjustments that anyone can make. You might be surprised to find where your habits fall in this ranking. But I promise, by the end of this, you'll have a clear checklist, and hopefully, a few simple steps that could save you from years of unnecessary back pain. When I asked Raymond how long he usually sat in that chair each day, he looked at me with a shrug. "I don't know. I have my coffee there in the morning, then the news, then I doze off a little, then lunch, then some old westerns. Before I know it, it's dinner." I gently nodded. "And how often do you get up and stretch or shift positions?" He smiled, a little embarrassed. "Not much, Doc. Maybe to go to the bathroom." Raymond wasn't doing anything unusual. In fact, this is the most common habit I see among older adults, especially those who are retired, live alone, or no longer have a strong reason to move around regularly. Sitting itself isn't dangerous. But sitting for hours on end in the exact same position, day after day, is like slowly turning down the volume on your body's natural strength. Let's talk about what happens when you don't move. When you sit for a long time without shifting, your lower back, your shoulders, your hips, they all start to stiffen. The muscles supporting your spine stop firing the way they should. Blood flow slows down. Joints get cold. Over time, the very posture you're sitting in becomes the shape your body molds itself into. If that posture happens to be hunched, twisted, or unsupported, well, it's like bending a coat hanger back and forth. Eventually, it snaps. Raymond's pain wasn't from a fall, or from heavy lifting. It came from stillness. His spine had been held in a slightly rounded, compressed shape for hours every day, without relief, without reset. That's what made getting up feel like climbing a mountain. What's more alarming? After age 60, our bodies naturally lose muscle mass and flexibility each year. If we don't actively counteract that with small, intentional movement, even basic tasks like tying shoes or getting out of bed can become painful or dangerous. I explained to Raymond that this habit, sitting too long without changing posture, is what I call level 1, the most harmful behavior in our ranking. Not because sitting itself is evil, but because of what it replaces: circulation, engagement, and connection with the physical world. So what should he do instead? I didn't ask Raymond to join a gym or buy fancy equipment. I asked him to do one thing: set a kitchen timer for every 60 minutes. And when it rings, just stand up. Walk to the kitchen. Look out the window. March in place. Reach both arms overhead. Anything to reset the body's position. I told him, it's not about burning calories. It's about reminding your spine, your legs, your lungs, you're still here. You still need them. The key is consistency. Even 2 to 3 minutes of gentle movement every hour can reverse the stiffening, restart circulation, and retrain your posture before it becomes permanent. Over time, these little breaks make it easier to move, easier to sleep, even easier to digest food. 2 weeks later, Raymond's wife called again, not out of worry, but relief. He's still in that chair, she laughed, but now I hear the timer go off every hour, and suddenly he's stomping around the kitchen like he's in a marching band. That's the power of small changes. And if you're watching this, ask yourself, when was the last time you changed position while sitting? If it's been over an hour, this might be your cue. Go ahead, pause this video, stretch a little. I'll be right here when you come back. After Raymond made it a habit to stand up and move every hour, the change was almost immediate. Less stiffness, fewer groans, and, his wife proudly reported, a little more bounce in his step. But on my next visit, I noticed something else. He was still sitting in that same old recliner. It had cushions so soft you could sink into them like a warm pie, and the back sagged just enough to make his shoulders hunch and his hips tilt. Raymond, I said with a smile, your timer is doing its job, but that chair of yours? It's working against you. That brings us to level 2, not changing where you sit. Because sometimes, it's not just how long you sit, it's what you sit on that can quietly sabotage your body. Let's think about it, most of us choose our seats based on comfort. The softest sofa. The coziest recliner. The chair with the deepest cushions. And at first, it feels lovely. But for older adults, especially over 60, this kind of plush comfort can be deceiving. When a chair is too soft or too low, it doesn't support the spine's natural alignment. Your pelvis tilts backward, your shoulders roll forward, and soon you're slouching without even noticing. Worse, standing up from a seat like that becomes harder with age. Your knees and hips have to work twice as hard to lift you out of that cozy trap. Take Mrs. Hartley, for example. She's 69 and lives alone in a small apartment. She told me, I love my big armchair. I practically live in it. But then she started experiencing chronic hip pain and pressure in her lower back. When I asked her to sit in that armchair and just stay there for 5 minutes, the problem revealed itself: no lumbar support, her knees higher than her hips, and her neck craning forward toward the TV. The chair wasn't broken. It was just wrong for her body now. I suggested a firmer chair with a straight back, one that allowed her feet to sit flat on the floor, her hips level, and her spine upright. We added a small cushion behind her lower back and a footrest to keep her knees slightly lower than her hips. At first, she resisted. It looks like a dining chair, not something for relaxing. But a week later, she called me laughing, I still miss my armchair, but I don't miss the back pain. So here's what I tell all my patients: comfort is not the same as support. If you're watching this, look at your favorite seat. Is your back well supported? Are your hips higher than your knees? Can you get out of the chair without struggling? If the answer is no to any of those, it might be time for a change. No need to throw away the recliner. Just reserve it for shorter periods. Use a firmer chair, like a padded kitchen chair, for longer stretches of sitting, especially during reading or watching TV. Add a rolled-up towel or small cushion behind your lower back. Keep your feet flat. And most of all, listen to how your body feels after you've been sitting. The chair you choose sets the stage for your posture. And when posture slips, pain follows. So don't let a well-loved chair slowly steal your mobility. After Raymond had settled into his new chair and committed to standing up every hour, things were looking up. Yet he still mentioned a lingering stiffness in his fingers and knees, despite all the progress. That's when I realized we hadn't addressed one crucial piece: those subtle, almost invisible movements the body needs throughout the day. You see, as we get older, our joints don't just crave big walks or gym workouts, they rely on the small stuff: wrist rolls, ankle pumps, a gentle stretch of the neck, even just shifting in your seat. Without these, the body begins to stiffen, blood flow slows, and inflammation quietly builds. I remember Mr. Hernandez, a retired music teacher in his 70s, who would sit completely still for hours playing chess online. When he came to me with numb fingers and stiff knees, we didn't prescribe medication, we prescribed movement. Every 15 to 20 minutes, while sitting, he began rolling his shoulders, flexing his toes, turning his neck gently. In just a few weeks, he felt looser, lighter, more awake. I often say to patients, movement doesn't need to be intense, it needs to be consistent. The body is like a well-oiled machine, even while parked, it needs a little hum to stay ready. So if you've mastered the habit of standing regularly and switched to a more supportive chair, that's great, but don't sit still in between. Small, simple gestures throughout the hour, like circling your ankles while watching TV or stretching your fingers during a phone call, can make all the difference. Movement isn't just physical. It's a message to your body: I'm here, I'm active, I'm alive. By now, Raymond had come a long way, from sitting motionless for hours to setting hourly reminders, switching to a more supportive chair, and keeping his joints awake with gentle movements. Still, there was one final piece that could elevate his daily routine from managing the pain to truly reclaiming his body, something I like to call the movement cycle. This, to me, is level 4, the gold standard. Not just standing up, not just choosing the right chair or doing a few stretches. It's about designing your day in rhythms. Instead of waiting for pain to tell you what's wrong, you build in recovery. You schedule in movement as if it's just as essential as meals or medication. Because, truthfully, it is. Let me tell you about Walter, a 66-year-old retired railroad engineer who now spends most mornings reading history books and afternoons tending his small backyard garden. When I first met him, he told me, "Doc, I don't sit for long periods, but I also don't follow a strict routine. I move when I remember." That, when I remember, turned out to be every few hours, often too late to prevent tightness in his lower back. So I suggested this instead: break each hour into 3 parts. 40 minutes of sitting, ideally with micro-movements as we discussed earlier. Then, take 5 minutes to stretch gently, nothing fancy, just standing tall, lifting your arms, turning side to side. And then 10 minutes to walk, maybe in the hallway, around the kitchen, or out to the mailbox. Then back to your seat if you wish. That full hour now includes movement, reset, and rest, like a healthy heartbeat. Walter was skeptical at first. Every hour? That sounds exhausting. But he agreed to give it a try for 1 week. By day 5, he called me, not with a complaint, but excitement. "Doc," he said, "I just realized it's been 3 days since I had to ice my back." 3 days. You see, the body isn't meant to live in extremes, not full activity, not full stillness. It thrives in cycles. Like breathing in and out. Like the seasons. Like walking, lift, move, plant, repeat. The beauty of the movement cycle is how naturally it can fit into daily life. Watching TV. Use the commercial breaks to stand and stretch. Reading the newspaper. Get up after finishing each section. Folding laundry. That counts as your walk time. Even watering plants, cleaning up the kitchen, or dancing for a song or two, they all feed the cycle. What's important isn't perfection, it's pattern. You might not always do it exactly on the hour. Some days will be more active, some less. That's fine. But once your body learns the rhythm, it begins to expect and rely on those breaks. Your joints loosen, your mood improves, your sleep deepens, and your balance becomes sharper. It's like tuning an instrument that had been slowly falling out of pitch. This approach is especially powerful for people over 60, whose natural muscle tone and joint lubrication decline with age. Creating these cycles helps push back, gently, persistently, against the tide. And the best part? It costs nothing. No special gear. No gym. Just your attention, your routine, and a little willingness to try. So if you've come this far, if you've adjusted how you sit, how often you move, and even how you fidget, then you're ready for this final step. Build the hour into a living rhythm, sit with awareness, stretch with kindness, walk with purpose. Repeat. Walter now says his days feel more alive, even though he hasn't added a single extra chore. He just rearranged the pieces. And sometimes, that's all it takes to transform the day, and the body that carries you through it. After Walter embraced the movement cycle, something shifted, not just in his body, but in the way he approached his entire day. It was no longer about avoiding pain, but about actively investing in his comfort, balance, and energy. And that, in many ways, is the real heart of aging well, understanding where you are today, and knowing how to move one level higher, gently, intentionally. That's why I often create a simple summary for my patients, a way for them to see, at a glance, where they stand. So let me share it with you now. Think of this as a self-check. Not a test. Just a tool to understand your current habits and how they might be helping, or hurting, you. Here's the comparison. Level 1, most harmful. You sit for long periods without standing up or shifting position. No movement, no breaks. You often feel stiff, sore, or fatigued by the end of the day. Level 2, still harmful. You get up occasionally, but your main seating is too soft, low, or unsupportive. Your chair is comfortable but causes bad posture, making movement harder over time. Level 3, improving. You sit in a supportive chair and make time for small joint movements, wrist rolls, shoulder shrugs, ankle pumps, throughout the hour. Your body feels more awake, but you may still lack full mobility. Level 4, optimal. You've built a movement rhythm into your day, sitting with micro-movements, standing every hour, stretching, walking. Your body feels lighter, your energy more consistent, and movement becomes effortless. I recommend writing these 4 levels down and keeping them somewhere visible, on your fridge, near your reading chair, or beside your TV. It's not to make you feel bad. It's a reminder that you have control, and small, steady changes can move you from stiffness to strength, 1 hour at a time. Now that you've seen the full picture, I want to bring it back to something simple. Not charts or checklists, just you, right here, right now. Ask yourself, which level are you living in today? There's no shame in the answer. Most people over 60, especially after retirement, find themselves stuck somewhere between level 1 and level 2. Not because they're lazy or unaware, but because modern life has quietly made sitting too easy and moving too rare. And the truth is, change doesn't require a gym membership, a new diagnosis, or a life overhaul. It begins with noticing. So I encourage you, pause right now and reflect. Did you shift your weight in the last hour? Did you stretch? Did you walk? Or did the day pass in a blur of stillness, with only the occasional trip to the kitchen? What you do next matters far more than what you did yesterday. Even if you've spent years in level 1 habits, your body will respond beautifully to care, at any age. It's never too late to move a little more, sit a little better, or live a little lighter. If you're unsure where to start, begin small. Place a reminder near your favorite chair. Set a timer. Do ankle rolls during commercials. Walk 1 extra lap around the house before dinner. Let the changes be gentle, but let them come. 1 hour of intention today can spare you months, even years, of stiffness, imbalance, and discomfort later on. And if this video has helped you pause, even for a moment, to consider your body with kindness, then I'd say it's done its job. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Which level are you currently in? Drop it in the comments, no judgment, just a community of people aging with grace and strength. And if you found this helpful, consider sharing it with a friend, a spouse, or a neighbor who might be silently battling back pain every day. Sometimes, the smallest tip, like switching chairs or setting a timer, can change someone's entire quality of life. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, every hour is a chance to reset. Your body is listening.